Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 launch event for Unisa's Accelerated Online Postgraduate Research Methodology, Academic Writing, and Grant Writing Program. As I say, this is the second launch of this event. So some of you would have attended our previous debut launch that we had in August last year. So clearly we are here now because we have survived the jinx of one-timers, and we return because the feeling is that the offering that we have is seminal importance to Unisa's community at large. Before I begin, I must introduce myself. I am Professor Tennyson Mokuchini. I am the project leader for this flagship program, and I must state that I'm the name that appears, but there's many faces behind and in front of me who have both taken a huge role in the conceptualization, in the implementation of this. And of course, we would never be able to proceed or continue with this program without our 16,000 and rising number of masters and doctoral students for whom this program is intended. Just as a quick, by way of background, I think I should, I will speak very quickly about what the program is about, but it is only apt that I introduce some of the leadership that have toiled night and day to ensure that the students receive this support initiative. And I will start with Professor Meyiwa, who is our Vice Principal for Research, Innovation and Commercialization. And you will get to hear from her in a short while, but she is essentially the person who fights to ensure that this initiative that's targeted at you, the students, gets the airplay that it deserves. I thank her for joining us, and I would like to also welcome Dr. Sipuga, who is the Dean of Students, and you will know, for those of you who understand the setup of universities, you will know that Deans of Students are often at the neck of everybody else, ensuring that every one of our sentences and our intentions begin and start with student priorities. So I'd like to welcome him. Then, of course, there's Professor Ngulube, who is the acting dean for the College of Graduate Studies, where this particular program is hosted. I thank him for ensuring that we stay true to the academic project and ensuring that we are always at our best when it comes to providing service for you, our postgraduate students. We are, of course, driven to having this program as a result of a number of things that make it necessary for us to have an initiative of this type. I will just mention a couple, but I know that other presenters will give much more detail and clarity to this. And the reasons that we're here is that, firstly, we have on our books 25,000 masters and doctoral students. 16,000 plus of them are active and have indicated their intention to study with Unisa this year. So once you think about those numbers, you recognize that there is no way that face-to-face engagement would work. And for that purpose, we need something that is online, something that is catered to you, and something that is responsive. And this is where this program that we have got its initial impetus to exist. Of course, there is the challenge of the success rates that I'm sure you will hear about throughout this session that compel us to think outside of the box. And this program is that thought outside of the box. I won't take too much time to steal the steam from the other speakers. And once again, I welcome all our masters and doctoral students. I welcome you because without you, we have no purpose. You are our ultimate purpose. But to formally bring us into the program today is Dr. Sipuga, who is the Dean of Students, and I ask him to welcome us all and offer some opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mgujini, Professor Meiwa, colleagues, and our students. Welcome to today's second launch of such an important support to our masters and doctoral students. I'm looking at the number 16,000. It loosely translates to about 5% of the currently registered students at the university in totality. And I think it forms a huge number of our university community. And I'm wishing first and foremost to congratulate our students for having taken the decision to register for masters and PhD, because amongst other things, it's really a difficult journey that you have ventured into and that you have consciously taken a decision to venture into. I'm congratulating you for that decision first and foremost, and wishing you a very great and prosperous journey with the university. Now, I know the complexities that surround this journey that we're getting into. There are going to be times when you would feel and ask yourself some difficult questions, namely, is the journey worth it? And believe you me, the journey is indeed worth it. And I'm pleading with you to stay with us on course on the journey, ensure that the the chapters that you'll be given to finish at certain times, you indeed do so, and come to the university for any support that you require so that you are able to finish your studies within reasonable timeframes. The role of the person of the Dean of Students, as Professor Mgujini spoke to earlier, is primarily to ensure that services that the university promises to its students are indeed delivered in the manner and fashion that they are required to. So we are here to make sure that whenever you might be having issues with ourselves as a university, our door is open for you to engage us, and we will, in the fastest form, ensure that the matters that are raising are indeed resolved. We are having a mantra as a university that we are the African university shaping futures in service of humanity. And I think one of the things that you must do also as a future PhD and master's holders from our universities to go out there, use these degrees to shape futures in service of humanity. With those few words, Professor Mgujini, thank you very much for giving me the honor to welcome our students today, and I'm wishing that all of us will be with them on this very beautiful, long, and sometimes difficult journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sipuga. Thank you for those well-considered words, particularly in motivating our students. And I know that the master's and doctoral journey is often very lonely. And ironically, when people register, we discover that it's that moment after registration where the biggest risk for them questioning why they are on this journey exists. And I think your words were very well timed in reminding our students and every one of us that actually this journey is worth it in every sense. What I would like to do very quickly is share much more detail about the program so we can really understand the reach and the arms and legs of this initiative that we're speaking about. And I hope that you can see the presentation that we have in front of you. And I target this particularly to our students, and I think they should see the realm of opportunities for collegiality that exists in terms of them engaging with other students, the range of research skills that we have identified for them, and also just the opportunities for what we are offering for them. Very quickly, I think it's important that we revisit in a very sharp way some of the reasons why this project has been necessitated. I mentioned earlier on about the numbers of students that we have. We can't ignore the fact that COVID-19 has almost sobered us up in ways that many of us never thought we would need to be sobered up. I mean, we have all known that Unisa was an online distance education institution, but we had the opportunities to kind of do a lot of hybrid offerings, some which unintentionally meant that those who only have online access could not fully benefit from everything we offer. So this COVID-19 made it such that we really had to commit entirely to our online pedigree. So that was the first driver that made us think this project must happen now and not anywhere else, and not at any other time. Of course, we, as you're aware, we have quite a lot of new blood within the postgraduate support space, and much of this has given an opportunity for us to refocus. And when I introduce Professor Meiwa in a short while, you will be under no false impression about her intention to really make sure that we fully live out this Odell promise that we make to students, and that your success becomes the very center of what we do. So some of the drive for the project really has to do with the faces that are in our leadership and the focus, the explicit focus that they have on student success, student success, student success. We also have some scary first-year dropout rates, and these are not unique to Unisa, but there are specific reasons why Unisa becomes that much more at risk. Anything from 1 in 4 students to more than half of our students don't make it beyond the first year. And in fact, once you introduce the distance element of the study option that you've chosen, the numbers get progressively worse, to a point where we have studies that have been conducted, some by myself and others, that have shown that anything up to 3/4 of our students don't finish proposals at the pace that we assume that they should have finished them. And then, of course, there's an expectation, particularly with our doctoral students, that by the time you complete, you should have published or had a paper accepted for publication. And all these things were ambitions that we had, but have no opportunity to actually provide substantive support for. And then the kind of demographic that Unisa supports has changed significantly. If you rewind to some 10, 15 years ago, most of our students were already gainfully employed and they were doing study with Unisa, but already in some form of employment. But now we have straight out of high school post-matric students that join us, and their journey towards seeking employment is totally dependent on what we offer them and the readiness that we give them. So that absence in us focusing on employability issues has become an increasingly problematic stance for Unisa. And this project was alerted to that, and you will notice that we have specific provision that speaks to this. We also have unsustainably low supervisor to student ratios. And that isn't because we don't have academics. We have the highest number of academics for any one institution in South Africa. But what has happened is we have committed very explicitly to opening up doors for students. And once you do that, it's inevitable mathematically that you will end up with this ratio that needs to be attended to. So we really do need things to complement the supervision that students are given. With that background, we were then compelled to kind of think of a way of supporting students in a very comprehensive way. And this was the birth of this online accelerated program that you are now part of by virtue of showing an interest in the launch. And that program has 8 legs, but 6 of them are specifically around student support streams that speak to your journey as master's and doctoral students. So we have an online master's proposal development leg. We also have a proposal development program that's for people at doctoral level. So we have separated this out. So we have a master's and doctoral level version of this. Then, of course, we have support for students that offers them writing guidance and specific research skills to allow them to finish their dissertation if they're at master's level, or to finish and walk through their doctoral thesis if they're at doctoral level. We also have an online MOOC, which is the academic writing, the academic integrity development MOOC. And this basically speaks to issues around plagiarism, training you on how to paraphrase, training you on basic expectations that we have of you as university students. It is always assumed that you have these things already, but the reality is that there's lots of evidence to show that at the highest levels of the study part, you still have students who struggle with differentiating between what plagiarism is and what referenced paraphrasing is. So this course attends to that and does an exceptional job in exposing you to these things. As I've mentioned earlier, we have an expectation. We have an expectation that our students be able to write academically. We write for publication purposes, and for that we've got a 3-month dedicated course that allows students to teaches them to write for publication. And the last time around that we did this, we were able to select 10 papers from the different students, and we're working on those papers and actually have finalized a manuscript for a book. So the expectation is that in months to come, that group will have their book. And similarly, this time around, we will do the same. We will do the same and more if opportunity allows. And the other part that we have as this offering is this grant writing or grantsmanship module that we offer. And you will all know that as students, the journey of doing your master's and doctoral study is an impoverishing journey. I mean, many people finish it much more poorer than when they began. And some of it is really to do with the fact that there are specific study-related costs that should be taken care of by applying for appropriate grants and so forth that we have not traditionally trained our students to be good at. And just by way of kind of recognizing the differences, University of KwaZulu-Natal, which has got the highest grant writing success rates amongst the students, out of say 37 applications that their students send to different entities outside of their institution, 35 of them get awarded grants. At Unisa, the number is closer to 2 out of that same 35. So if you look at those numbers, there's a lot of work we need to do. And the difference that UKZN injected was having formalized training for their students around grant writing, much of which was provided, ironically, by the very person who's speaking to you this minute. And it just seemed wrong that the same kind of energy had not been spent with my home. So clearly we need to work on that, but we have a dedicated piece of offering that's open to all of you as students to take part in. We also have a web-based entrepreneurial development readiness WhatsApp group that's facilitated jointly with Facebook Africa, in which they help our students to get themselves ready and to market themselves for the next step outside of study. We ran this last year for the very first time that Facebook were doing it with any institution in the entire world. And we have exceptional success stories from that. They were able to invite some well-known international entrepreneurs to speak to you as students about how you turn your research ideas into things that have entrepreneurial possibilities, the whole commercialization of your research. So we have that, and that is open to all students. We then, of course, have been informed by the literature and feedback from previous other similar programs, and that those programs tell us very clearly that you cannot ready the students without doing equivalent research development work with the supervisors that support them. And you will notice that this delivery cycle, unlike the previous one, has added a supervisor capacity development course, so that when we train you in all these expectations and ways of operating, you have a supervisor population that understand what you now know and what you now expect. So that we will be rolling out for the first time this year. Folks who have the delivery model we have is very simply a 3-tier model. So we have a whole plethora of sessions that we run, and we do those as didactic lectures, which are open to everybody to attend. Last year, we had over 27,000 attendances when we did these sessions, and those are open to every single student. But as we do this, we do a lot of learner analytics things that help us to get a sense of the things that students struggle with. So, for example, stuff like things like writing, argumentation in academic writing, how to do a literature review, how to do specific type of analysis. All those things get pulled out into sessions that we call blast sessions. And those sessions allow us to then develop small focus group deliveries with students that feel they need specific support with those areas. Then the last tier that we have is each of the colleges have the right through supervisors to refer individual students to us to say, hey, we have a particular student who is struggling with this particular competence, and we request that they receive one-to-one support. So that is what we offer to the students. Then, as I've mentioned, we have the Supervisor Capacity Development course that I spoke about earlier on. And the primary contact person, if you need to clarify anything at all, is myself, and my details are available. Once again, all the content that we've shared here will be availed to you. We will send a link with the entire launch event and any of the documents that you should expect, or any of the documents that you should expect to have for you to successfully make use of this course. I think that hopefully gives you a good overview of what the program is about and what opportunities exist for you. And as I say, it is open to every single registered student, at master's and doctoral student at Unisa. Some of the things that we have, say master's level, we have named them so a master's student can prioritize that, but it is not to say that if you're a doctoral student, you can't double up on these things. We invite that, and we really mean it when we say this is open to all. So that is my part of the presentation. There will be a point at which you will be able to ask questions, and we will offer responses to those. What I would like to do now is to take a brief moment to introduce you to Professor Thenjiwe Meyiwa, our Vice Principal for Postgraduate Studies, Innovation and Commercialization at Unisa. Many of you will have sort of come across her in different spaces. Everything that has to do with research at Unisa has in some shape or form come from her office. But prior to that, she was a registrar at Durban University of Technology, and she joins us with an extensive scholarly and higher education experience. And I will just mention some of these things, but I think I will get to a point where the most relevant bits will be made clear to you. She has held a number of positions, but all these come from her having very specific qualifications that place her well to be the person that leads us as far as our research agenda is concerned at Unisa. She holds several tertiary qualifications and has a Master's of Commerce in Organizational and Systems Management from UKZN. And I made special mention to the ground and the kind of pedigree requirements that UKZN has. And I think much of those forms of thinking about making sure we get the best for you, the being number one, not accepting any other position other than that, come from that pedigree space that she comes from. She's also holds a Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Natal, and she was the research director at one point for, excuse me, sorry. Sorry, folks. I'm just having a bit of a video. Hello, sorry, I think I got lost for a second. Sorry about that. I was just highlighting some of Professor Meyiwa's accomplishments, and I may have gone on and on and on without you hearing me, because I noticed that I had come offline for a second. She holds a number of qualifications and is an NRF-rated scholar. She, of course, upon joining Unisa, she shared some of her very specific expectations about what we become. And I think at the center of those was her commitment and clarity about the intention of making sure that the academic project is at the very center of what her portfolio stands for. And for me, when I looked at those credentials and I thought about the support expectations students should have, there were very specific things that she said and has demonstrated in various spaces. And many of them speak to her commitment to ensuring that we are unapologetic about really giving you all the facilities that Unisa has, the gravitas of us being a big institution, the reach in terms of maximizing our online presence, and also making sure that the type of research that we support from you are things that make changes to society as a whole. She lives and speaks that, and I trust that when she speaks to you in a short while, you will get to see impressions of that come out very clearly. And without taking up too much time, I'd like to open the floor up for Professor Meyiwa, and I hope that she will be able to connect smoothly. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Mkuchini. I hope you can hear me, colleagues in the presenters room. Thanks for that. Wow, that's actually quite going to town about the introduction, but it goes to show the importance of this program and what the project manager of this project, that is a flagship, holds dear in his heart. Our students in attendance this morning, members of the university executive within and external to the College of Graduate Studies, and part of whom are presenters this morning in this presentation room that we're in, the acting dean of the College of Graduate Studies, Professor Ngulube, the dean of students, Dr. Sipuka, the project manager, Prof. Mkuchini, Mr. Wandile Giwu, the SRC president, and to the interested academics who are part of the wider Unisa community for their interest and for the decision to take part in this launch of the second cycle of the project. Sanbonan, Molweni, Tobelang, Avwan, Huyamore, good morning, Dumelang. It gives me great pleasure this morning, project manager of this project, to actually see it being launched. This is actually an official launch because we've had success already with the program having been a 2020 program, and in your introductory remarks, you rightly said that the program was leapfrogged due to COVID-19. Knowing how COVID-19 impacted on us negatively, but we have had to take a leaf out of it, and a beautiful leaf for that matter. We launched this program this morning as a form of acknowledging that there is a growing need for this kind of nuanced support due to the nature of who we are as the University of South Africa, but more importantly, as a distance learning institution. Also, a program director, project manager, there is appreciation, which you've also nuanced in your introduction, for the need for having additional scholars, and in particular African scholars. By African, meaning those that are on this continent, and scientists, indeed, to contribute to innovation and development of the African continent, and to further develop Africa's participation in the knowledge economy. A recent study by CREST researchers again confirms that the continent and this country in particular, have had huge increases in the number of doctoral enrollments as well as masters for the purposes of this launch that we're having this morning. And this actually is being seen to be happening quite proliferated within the African universities. And therefore, you will agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, project a director, manager of this launch, that as a result of all of this enthusiasm, the demand for a well-prepared master's and doctoral student is increasing, has increased, and it has actually taken that pedigree. For us, we regard you, our graduate students, as people whom are referred to as mentees, the people that we shall be handing over the baton to in a few years' time, and that without you, the academic project cannot be what it is. And we have to ensure that with us giving you this kind of support, we'll be able to hand over the baton so that you can take over the reins of being in academia, being in the academy, and ensuring that you become future supervisors and also take on these positions that we're in right now and lead this process. Thus, in order for us to meet that and to meet this new and growing demand for the master's and doctoral cohort, we've had to have this program that we've consciously termed Accelerated Online Support Program for Postgraduate Students. And Prof. Mkuchini will let you know that although many of our students at this level could be working at this time, but we're recording this launch, and we shall be recording the programs that we've set out for the entire year, actually until October or November, if I'm not mistaken, because CGS, in developing this support program, is also drawing expertise well in advance from within CGS and from Unisa and beyond, to ensure that this online support objective of ensuring that we support the graduate student so that we are realizing the objective that we have, that indeed you become contributors, you become mentors in future, you become supervisors, and become the academic that we want you to be. Hence, in my language, you'll say, Inkonzi, isematoleni, that it is actually in you that we see you taking over the academic project and running with it in the manner that fits well and beats in the heart that we expect, in your heart that we ingraining this morning, so that you take the program, the project forward of the academic project with enthusiasm, as well as with all the energy that we want you to have. Hence, this support program that we are reinstalling this morning, and that we want you to be aware of, and that we are, as Prof. Mkuchini alluded earlier on as the project leader, that it is indeed an exciting initiative that will see our postgraduate students being the graduate cohort that we want them to be, and take over the reins. Program Director, this program therefore is one of our key flagship projects that we want our students, the M&D students, to hold us accountable for. Through this installation of this program, we are making a promise. We're actually having a compact with you to say that hold us accountable, hold Prof. Mkuchini accountable, hold Prof. Ngulube accountable, and of course hold myself accountable as the accounting officer, that we want to provide this support, the support that is very significant in this case of COVID-19 as it continues to bite us. But for us as the university that is of this nature, often engaging with our students in a distant mode, We want you to let us know where we're getting things not in the manner that you want us to get them. Hence, we are and shall be continuing to check on your inputs in strengthening this program. It is an initiative that without you, it's not going to be able to succeed and become what we want it to be. Unisa's first totally online program, therefore, this program, which is totally online in our support, addresses all the research competencies that we demand from our postgraduate students. Prof. Mkuchini has made reference to the 8 pillars that the program shall be looking at, the support program. Because in the 4 months, we are now, unlike in the past and currently, we expect you to leapfrog quite extensively. Just to share the successes of what we've actually had since 2020, when we had this program, we've actually have been able to offer support to 3,000 M&D students and provided them with the support and guidance in proposal development, in thesis, dissertation development, and in writing for publication, as well as grants that we expect to, through this program, see the gripe that Prof. Mkuchini made reference to earlier to be addressed and redressed differently so that we have more students entering the scholarships that are out there that we avail often through my office. And actually there's one that's ongoing right now where we're calling through the Fulbright program that you participate in that. We expect you to put your foot forward, especially those M&D students that are full-time students, and to subscribe to this program, put your foot forward, let us know where we can actually assist you and support you. We're here, we're raising up our hand and saying, take us on it, we're compacting with you. Program Director, the inception therefore of this program is long overdue, given the fact that Unisa is wholly online. And of course, we have been having, as you cited earlier, unsatisfactory student rates that through this program, we want to address, redress. Studies have repeatedly shown that anything from 25% to 60% of master's and doctorate students in contact universities drop out or never complete their studies. Now, that is a pandemic, I will argue. And that, of course, is largely due to the unmet support for the graduate student and the support that's needed by the graduate student as she expresses it. I seem to have actually gotten lost somehow. Am I back online? I don't know what's happening. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know at what point you lost me, or I lost you rather. But there is maybe. Prof. Mkuchini?
You are online. You are online.
Thanks for that. We, as a university and as the portfolio and as College of Graduate Studies, we regard it a pandemic that only 10% is reported as a success rate at Unisa. We want you to hold us accountable, and we will hold you accountable to have a different percentage of students that walk the graduation stage. While we acknowledge these challenges, there is also abundant research that shows that the introduction of structured support programs, such as this one that we are officially launching this morning, do indeed increase success rates to 73%. And that's where we're aiming. This represents a multiplication effect of nearly 8 times. We want to raise a graduation throughput to that number. And the fact that we acknowledge these challenges And the fact that we're coming out in the open about them serves as a tone setter for this program and for what we're offering. For you as an individual and for the teams that we expect you, the group supports, to also support each other, as well as let us know how we could provide the support. We expect all our graduate students, all that are registered, to be successful. As Prof. Mkuchini said, currently we have 16,000 students that are registered and are active, although of course the registration closed at the end of this month, but we know that we have 25,000 that are in the postgraduate program that are not active. We expect everybody to be active, and it is programs of this nature that we want to actually present to you, we expect you to participate in as we roll it out, that we look forward to successful terms of engagement with you, that you are able to complete all that we are rolling out, from the conceptualization of your study, to the proposal writing, to the ethics clearance, to the writing of the chapters, etc., that Prof. Mkuchini made reference to earlier. So what this year, 2021, is bringing, we are bringing a number of challenges which we want you to take on, because what it means, in particular, it will be a challenge for graduate students who are working. But that of course, being a challenge, we want it to be changes that we want to see in your work, hence the transformation that we expect to come forward with this program. And therefore, we want to ensure that there's greater success, and we are actually including programs that you never had in the past, so that it's not only you as a student who is supported, but also your supervisor is supported in supporting you better than we have done in the past. So from the beginning of this year already, we have had a program, a workshop with supervisors, where we want to begin to understand how could we have and do things differently. So the implementation of this widened out support program that is inclusive of supervisors also accepts the fact that the supervision as a form of capacity building for the supervisors, but also for your support, becomes part of the responsibility that as a portfolio and as the College of Graduate Studies, we take it seriously, and that through this program, we provide support as support is being called out for at the grassroots, at the coalface. Therefore, the specific details relating to the rolling out of this program shall be shared with you in due course, or will have been shared by my team, the implementing team led by Prof. Mkuchini, in terms of which days shall you be offered support programs and which weeks. And so we expect you to participate in that. And I believe that my involvement today demonstrates my commitment to this support program, as well as ensuring that we offer the kind of postgraduate student support that will yield the success that we want to commit this morning, to see much more graduate students of master's and doctoral level walking the graduation stage. Colleagues, students, program director, it is no secret that education, particularly higher order of learning, such as those that are expected of and that we require, rather demand from the M&D students, are crafted in ways that are likely to disadvantage particular communities. And therefore, for us at Unisa, as a university that prides itself with ensuring that the African thought, the African way epistemology, as well as
the philosophy that we have of Ubuntu is ingrained in this program. And therefore, our philosophy that we hold on this is that from its genesis, as Prof. Ngulube says, has always been about ensuring that the social discrimination is minimized, as well as the social justice mandate of massifying the higher education at this level is actually proliferated. We cannot do this on our own. The success of all of this lies in you grabbing with both hands this program that we're offering this morning, and also coming to us and letting us know where we could do things better. And therefore, we are calling upon you again, as I repeatedly say so, that unless you partner us, we're not going to be able to achieve what we're setting us up to achieve. As Unisa, we continue to be committed to offer the state-of-the-art support, but of course, this can only reap its benefits if indeed you, as a recipient of this program, are fully participating in this. In that way, I am motivating you that it will not only be your supervisor, it will only be my office, it will also not only be Prof. Mkuchini's active work in this program, no, Prof. Ngulube and the entire team at CGS, that we shall see success. But with you coming on board and ensuring that you accept this as a learning journey that shall shape your decisions, your actions, and ensure that we see success and commitment in identifying the challenges within your study, but do so ensuring that we're looking at having you fully capacitated and at providing as much capacity and as much enabling environment as we are able to offer. Prof. Ngulube and Prof. Mkuchini, as our end, I want to congratulate you for this program and have every confidence in the fact that you shall carry it out as conceptualized and that it shall turn around the support that we want to provide and lead to the successes that we want to see of our M&Ds, and that they walk the graduation stage much more than we have seen in the past, and that they become academics of note because of the kind of the program that we will give to them, as well as those that are staff students, as I call them, indeed become supervisors, but more importantly, and also become the knowledge producers that lead to the destiny that we're all looking forward to. I therefore trust that the management of this program, Prof. Ngulube and Mkuchini, will consider also ensuring that the M&D students who participate in this program receive a form of a certificate or acknowledgement of attendance, which then we may need in future to make it form part of their reports in the form of the attestation and thesis that they have attended this program or the elements of this program, to ensure that success for them is something that is much more certainty. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Maiwa, for that inspiring presentation to the students, and ironically, even those of us who think we have traveled this journey hear speckles of things that tell us about how we should shape the future. So it speaks much more to the aspirations that we should be seeking out for our students. I think in thanking you, I want to just highlight a couple of things, a few things that you spoke about, in as far as making sure that the listeners heard you clearly. And I also think it demonstrates a couple of other things about you. The first thing was, and it usually takes an everyday example to illustrate this. Many of us go to our doctors for treatment, and when you get there and you have a condition, you decide whether you want to trust the doctor being the driver of your recovery by how well they seem to know the illness that you're suffering from. So the detail with which they explain what they believe is wrong with you gives you some reassurance of whether they know or don't know what it's about. And I think Professor Meyiwa's diagnosis of the challenge spoke about some very notable things that tell us that the intimacy of understanding the challenge should be a reassurance to all those who are on this journey that it is understood. The first thing was, I think, the acknowledgement about how education has been used as both as a way of discriminating and substantiating discrimination, so those who are left behind stay behind. Prof. Meyiwa spoke about how this project as aspirations is to address that unsustainable social injustice and address it in a number of ways around ensuring access to the best provision that is there. She also mentioned about the fact that this program will offer its teachings and the sessions it has outside of business hours, as in outside of this time that we're seeing you, so that those people who have competing priorities between this and work can access the course live. We also, by virtue of the platform we're using, will be circulating, and we did this last time around, recordings of all the lectures to every single registered person. So if you can't attend live, you at least have opportunity to access it. We also have made provision to support students with data wherever there is a specific requirement for them to be able to take part in this. So all these things were attended to in one shape or form by Professor Meyiwa in her address. She also speaks a lot about the social justice mandate that Unisa has got. And I think that is often written about, but we don't live it out. And it is clear that the challenges, the barriers, and the opportunities for improving ourselves were spelled out very clearly in the address. And I think if I were a patient, I would think my doctor really knows what is wrong with me. And because of that, I am assured that there's a real understanding and appreciation of the things that I need to have in place for me to succeed. There were also some other detail that was evident in the address around the success rates of students, and we need to be honest about the challenge ahead. And I think that was spoken to very, very clearly. Also, I think the public announcement about the commitment to making this work really spells it out for the students that there is no excuse for some of us at the implementation level for saying, oh, we can't do X, we can't be flexible in a particular way, because you have now heard it categorically that from the very highest level of our portfolio, all avenues to make this work have been opened to us. And I think all this represents a very new dimension of engagement with our students, in that we say to you, we have committed to openness, we have committed to giving you a rich learning experience, and the commitment runs from the very top of the institution all the way to the very people that deliver or sometimes apologize for failing to deliver. And for that, reassurance and clarity. I thank you, Prof. Maiwa. As always, you may regret that you have offered us an open door, because we will knock on your door at all times to make sure that this promise that we have made is lived out. Thank you once again for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the next thing that we have on our program is a very quick video that in 2 minutes really tells you a bit more about what we are, the excitement that we have. We have this as it's online as a YouTube video, but many people who watch it online have left comments like, oh, they would like us to screen it for other students to see, and we thought we would take this opportunity to just expose you to it for 2 minutes. So I will sign off now, and the video will come on. Thank you very much.
Good day, students, and welcome to this short video that will tell you exactly what this program is all about. For that, I'm going to hand you over to the director of the school, wherein this program lies, Professor Tennyson Mukachini, to tell you all about it.
Hi everyone. My name is Tennyson Mukachini. I'm a director in the School of Transdisciplinary Research Institutes in the College of Graduate Studies, and I just want to introduce you to an exceptional program that we have. It's called Unisa's Accelerated Online Postgraduate Support Program. It's designed and targeted to all our 25,000 masters and doctoral students, and basically offers instructional support on things such as academic integrity. We also have very dedicated programs that help those who are working through their proposals. These are designed to assist you and your supervisor, so you have additional support on how to meticulously work on your proposal, whether you're at master's level or doctoral level. Also, along with that, we have 2 additional programs that are dedicated to supporting those who are writing their master's dissertations with how you work through each of the chapters. And then, of course, we have a similar program for those doing their doctorate. You will be aware that as you've progressed through your studies, there's an increasing pressure for you to write articles for publication in journals, and also for you to apply for grants to support your study and to support any other research endeavor that you might have. So we have 2 programs that are dedicated to that, and those are open, once again, to all 25,000 of our students. And they're delivered by some of South Africa's best academics. We have searched all over the country to find some of the best facilitators out there. And I'd have you know that I have overseen no less than 17 of these programs in different institutes all over the world. So we are all in safe hands. And what is also exceptional about this program is that it's delivered across many platforms. We have web-based offerings, we have online lectures. We also have a groundbreaking partnership with Facebook Africa, where we will be offering training on marketing. And when we talk about marketing, we're talking about marketing your skills, marketing yourself as an entrepreneur. And this will be delivered for the first time via WhatsApp. And all these are free to you as Unisa students. And I just want to tell you that keep your eye out for this, because this will definitely change your master's and doctoral journey. And you can expect nothing but the best out of this. So please stay linked to this and listen for updates Thank you very much. It's a wise choice you've made. Well done.
Thank you, Professor Mugujini. Okay, so mentioned was that we will be making use of various platforms and various new innovative technologies to bring this content to you. Let's hear a little bit more about that.
Greetings, my name is Denzel Chetty. Let me take the next few seconds to share with you some exciting information on the program learning platform for this particular project. This project is built on Unisa's strategic focus area of becoming a leading ODEL comprehensive university in teaching and learning, research, innovation, and community engagement through scholarship. As such, we have chosen a learning platform that is innovative, adaptable, flexible, and built on open learning principles. We have chosen 3 mediums to deliver this training. The first is the Unisa Open Learning Portal. It is on this space that you will find the content of your courses. The second aspect is the way we will use to facilitate Microsoft Teams live events, which is more scalable, catering for large numbers of students. And then we will also have Microsoft Teams, the smaller interactive groups with facilitators. In order for us to build a community of practice of postgraduate student support, we will be using Microsoft YAML. Our courses are built on 4 principles: MOOCs, massive open online courses. We will also incorporate facilitator-led sessions using Teams, etc. We will have pre-recorded sessions so that if you miss a session, you can still get the knowledge that you need. And then we will lastly be using digital learning objects such as podcasts, voiceovers, PowerPoints, word-based templates, etc. So you see, this is an exciting course, rich in multimedia with very strong integration of technology and built on the open philosophy. We wish you well and hope to see you on this course. Thank you.
Okay, so all that's left for you to do is to register for this program. Accompanying this video will be a link to a registration form. Make sure you fill it out and welcome aboard.
Thank you. I hope that gives a sense of what is possible on the program. And as I say, every day we are breaking new barriers around how we communicate with students. And we also want to confirm once again our response times. We generally make sure that every inquiry we gets responded to in 24 hours. And you will recognize that this is a difficult feat to promise and live up to, given to the numbers of students that we're serving. But to maybe speak and attest to the commitment of the program to the students, we thought it would not harm us to invite a contribution and a message of support from Mr. Wandile Giwo, who is the newly appointed president of Unisa's Students Representative Council. And folks, we are going to try and link him in a creative way. We thought we would try to see how well we can link him if he's not using a typical gadget as many of us have access to. You know, many people would have access to this on laptops and so forth. And we thought we would, Wandile thought it might be a good idea for us to see how we do in linking people on platforms that are traditionally much more difficult to link people on. So without further ado, I will try to link Wandile to us so he can offer some words of support. Thank you very much.
The acting director, Prof. Mugujini, the acting dean, Prof. Ngulube, the vice principal for research, innovation, and commercialization, Prof. Mayo, the project team that has worked tirelessly in making sure that this project becomes a reality, the student populace at large. My name is Wandile Giwo, the National SRC President of Unisa. We are only here to give a message of support. We are only going to take a minute of your time. We are not going to expand further, but hopefully we will get another opportunity to indulge on the presentations research, we believe the main purpose of research is to inform action, gather evidence for theories, and contribute to developing knowledge in the field of study or society in general. Research has proven to be the most effective tool for building knowledge and facilitating learning. It is required not for only students and academics, but for all professionals and non-professionals.
Colleagues, it appears that
Challenges on the site. We believe that the main purpose of research is to inform action, gather evidence, and for theories to contribute in developing knowledge in the field of study or society in general. Research has proven to be the most effective tool for building knowledge and facilitating learning. It is required not just for students and academics, but for all professionals and non-professionals. As the NSRC, we would like to applaud the college for this critical and innovative advancement on behalf of more than 400,000 students.
colleagues, I'm noticing that Mr. Gill's connection seems to be a bit temperamental. It seems to be a bit temperamental, so I have reassumed the talking role. I'm not sure if he'll be able to return to us, but I have had opportunity to speak to him about the message that he had wanted to share, and there were some basic points of observation he made. The first was that he has made a commitment that the SRC will make their presence felt at every point throughout this offering. So not only will their involvement be in this session that we have, they will be involved in we've got a number of character building sessions that are really related to building student resilience throughout this journey, and he and the rest of his team will be part of that. There's also a large element of quality assurance that we have to do in relation to whether the promises we make, in relation to how we respond to students, in relation to issues of access. I know we make promises about availing this to any student regardless of financial situation. All those things are things that will be subjected to quality assurance, and the best body to do that was deemed to be the Student Representative Council. So his message was going to reassure you all that we will continue to be held to account by the highest student body that Unisa has. Beyond that, he also wanted to articulate the motivational requirements that are asked of you as students. And for many a time, people think of their educational journey as being one-sided, that if the university steps in and provides what they should, the journey should by definition be easy. But this could not be much further from the truth in relation to the level of study where you are at. We all know, those of us who have traveled your journey know that the difference, unsaid difference between different levels of study is that the proximity and silver spoon that your teacher or facilitator of learning gives you becomes more and more remote the further up the ladder you go. So by the time you get to master's level, you really end up using the teacher, the facilitator, your supervisor as an occasional checkpoint. But much of the running in between those checkpoints is driven by your own motivation. And in as much as we make all these things available to you, if you do not run with us, then it will all be futile in that you will not get the benefits that typically come with this type of supportive structure that we offer you. Those were the two additional messages that Mr. Gio was going to add. Just as just to give you some insights into the platform, we had merged WhatsApp with MS Teams in ways that are supposed to not be possible, and that shows the commitment to really going outside the box to get to you as students, and the choice behind why we merged WhatsApp in this particular presentation that we had was because we have clarity that WhatsApp has 96% penetration across South Africa. So in essence, 96% of our students would in some shape or form be able to engage with us as long as they're able to send WhatsApp messages. And these days you'll be hard pressed to find anyone who's not on WhatsApp. So the ability to actually bring those two platforms together marks a different space altogether. And I think our challenge now was just to do more with Mr. Giwa's connectivity rather than the interface between the two platforms. So this perfectly brings us to a point where we will consider questions from you. There are several questions that have been posted on our chat, on our conversation chat that we have here. And just to introduce, there may be many people who are used to an alternative version of MS Teams, this platform that we're using. There's a much smaller version for sessions that have less than 350 participants, and that allows people to present their questions verbally. But of course, in larger and larger groups, Microsoft has made provision for what they call live events, which is the platform we're using today, and that allows us to consider questions as written questions on the conversation chat that you've got. So I will look through some of the questions here so that we can respond to them. The first question is asked about how you access me. Every one of our leaflets or communications that we send out has my email address attached to it, and linked to my email address are email addresses for master's students and doctoral students. So you should be able to direct any of your requests or questions to us in that way. The presentation that I did earlier on, which will be circulated to you, also has my email address on there, and we do respond. Even during the lifetime of this presentation, there have been several questions that have been posed, which we will respond to even during this. Thank you. So the other questions that we have, there is a question that asks about whether we are going to provide data for students to attend the program. This is a very complicated question, partly in terms with regard to the implementation element of it. We have made provision. We have made provision in our budgeting to support those students who do not have access to data. but we are also aware that there is a period during everyone's registration, particularly late last year, where students were getting data from Unisa every month. So we will understand what the big institutions are doing, and we will complement that or offer a specific opportunity for people to make requests if they have data-related requests to make. We unfortunately end up being able to retrospectively attend to data requests. So many people would have utilized their data, then they approach us after the fact. But in short, the answer is yes, we will be making provision for those who specifically request and cannot get on. But we also must point out that this is a very new space that we are venturing into. So there's a number of implementation challenges that come up. There's a number of implementation challenges that come up in relation to this. There's been a request for us to provide a WhatsApp number for people to communicate with the program. We will set that up for this year. We had one that we were using last year, but many of the things that are on there tend to be retrospective and not correct anymore. So we will set up a new one and we will send that out with the next communication, because immediately after this, we email everybody with a link for those who are interested to register. And I say register so we can capture specific things about the learning needs people have, the departments from that they are linked to, so we know how to kind of model our offerings so that they speak to the demographic of students that we have. There is a question that asks if we need additional assistance. Can we contact someone for this? The answer about additional assistance is yes, you can contact us. Of course, the nature of assistance will vary in terms of the 3 different tiers that I described. You will either get directed to our lecture series, or you will be directed to the blast sessions that focus on specific issues that you have spoken about, and or you will be directed to speak to your supervisor about getting a one-to-one referral to us. And the reason we need to go through supervisors to facilitate the one-to-one arrangements is that when you work with people one-to-one, you make very personally guided proposals about how they should work with their study. And we don't want the program to appear to be in conflict with the very people who will give you license to do your study. So that type of engagement must happen in alliance with your supervisor, so you don't get mixed messages and end up kind of non-complying with one element or the other. But in short, we give out, we support you in all those 3 different ways. And capacity has not been a problem for us. We are able to support everybody with everything. We work on an arrangement that involves us utilizing the range of supervisory expertise the university has. We have also reached out and previously had appointed some of the country's leading facilitators, and we do all of that depending on the amount of demand that exists. So generally, we've been able to meet demand. As I say, we had 27,000 attendances last year, and we attended to each and every one confidently and conclusively. So that is still possible. And then there's a question around whether the notifications of workshops will be sent out via email and whether one needs to specifically register. Yes, to both. We will send out these things by email. We will, as I say, send many emails over and over because sometimes they get missed. We also need you to specifically register so that we have to report. One thing we didn't mention was that this program is funded by the Department for Higher Education and Training, and one of the measures that they use around whether or not we deserve to be supported going further is that we need to evidence all the engagements that we have. So, and one of the inaugural bits that you have to do is that we need to have a registration of all the people who've utilized us. But that does not mean that those who do not register do not get access to what we have. So we still send the link of all the videos to every single master's and doctoral student that we have. We just need the numbers to be able to talk about the people who have actively engaged with us. And there are some more personalized questions around how long a supervisor should take to respond to one's first draft. There are so many variables around this that it's impossible to answer that question. But one thing that is very clear is that at the very beginning of your supervisory relationship, both you and the supervisor should have an engagement where you talk about expectations, and different supervisors will tell you what is possible, and you can also articulate to them what your expectations are. Of course, as part of our program, we train you on how to engage successfully with supervisors, because sometimes it is not the message, it is the approach that is utilized that can determine the level of success you have as a supervisee in this relationship. So we have sessions that deal with that and make sure that we help you to exploit and maximize the benefits of your supervisory relationship. And then we've requested, there's a question that's asking for a recording of the session. As I've said, we will circulate that to everyone who was invited to begin with, regardless of whether they attended or not. We have received many students who have inquiries from students who have said they know that this program used to run in the evenings. How come this is in the daytime and they're losing out? And the launch is generally in the daytime, but everything else that we do, we took we did many inventories with student groups, and we discovered that 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the best space to get our students to do live attendance. But anyone who misses and is registered will definitely get a video of every engagement we do. And we're also working at looking to have a repository of these things that's available on a YouTube channel and so forth. So all of that is happening, but as we speak right now, we email everybody. Is the year program for course available already? Yes, I hope I've understood that question. So we do have a program. We've already programmed out every single one of the sessions that's being offered. All of that is available, but as you will appreciate, we needed to first launch this event, get those who are interested on board, and once that's done, you will get a continuing a stream of communications from us that relate to us. But most importantly, please make sure that you register, because we need that to know where you are, who you are, what your requirements are, and it also helps us to shape our offering. So because there are many parts of the program that are open to further design change. And the more we know about you, the better placed we are to make the appropriate designs. I think I'm looking at the questions in front of me, and I appear to have attended to all the questions that required my attention. The team have looked at some of the published questions and they've already offered responses. Many of them are to do with issues around administrative things, which we've been able to offer. There are some questions that are much more departmental, so you get people asking about how do they get assigned a supervisor, and this program sits on top of all the other programs that individual departments offer. So you will find that when you ask that question, we need to know a little bit about the specific faculty you're from, the department you're from, and the nature of engagement that that sector has. There are some departments that have a requirement that you complete your proposal, then on acceptance of the full proposal, they will appoint a supervisor for you. Then there are some departments that will say you write a concept note of anything between 2 to 5 pages, and that will trigger an appointment of a supervisor. And there are some departments that run a hybrid of those things. And the answers to that question change depending on what department you belong to. Also, I think it's important to specify that this program we're offering is designed in a way that is useful to all students of different variations, and that neither one of those arrangements is worse or better than the other. But what can't happen is that you cannot venture into a master's or doctoral journey without education about all the varied research methodologies that are out there. You can't venture without being trained specifically in writing academically. You can't venture without academic integrity training. You can't venture without grant writing training, and so forth. And those are the things that this program specializes in. There are some requests that are asking for research methodology workshops on their own. Just for the purposes of clarity, it is impossible to give the level of teaching that we offer in one workshop alone. So we might have 2 sessions that do qualitative research methodologies, and we repeat them at different levels. We have 4 further sessions that look at mixed method research and so forth. And the reason we do that is we don't want you to be competent just in the one type of methodology you've chosen. We want you to have competence across every methodology, because the completeness of who you are as a graduate student is about your ability to understand everything, including the very options you didn't choose. You don't want to be a graduate who says, I can only do grounded theory and nothing else. That is not the same metaphor I used about a doctor. You don't want to go to your general practitioner who says, I only deal with the flu and nothing else. They need to know everything else, even if they decide that what you suffer from is one specific illness. And that's what this program is really about. And folks, I'm seeing more questions come, but they're a repetition of things that I've answered already, and I think they may have been typed before that became clear. And as I say with the registration, we will send you many emails that offer you the link to register. The very first of which will be the email that comes with a link for this recording. I will try to not take up too much time right now, or any more time right now, and want to take this opportunity to ask our acting Dean of the College of Graduate Studies, Professor Ngulube, to take the floor, and he will graciously thank everybody and offer and help bring the event to a close. And before he comes on, I just want to say a couple of things about the launch timetable for this. So at the end of today, you will have received the email with all the things that we have promised so far. You will also be invited as soon as you register, and the registration is a 5-10 minute thing. Once you register, you will be given a link to our massive open online course on academic integrity. We believe that at the very core of everything you do, you cannot engage in academic work when you can't tell what plagiarism looks like, what you need to do to avoid it. You don't have basic academic writing skills. You have not learned how to reference. So we begin that journey immediately. That course goes live on the 23rd, which is this Friday. It's open 24 hours a day, of course, the courses, and you will have 3 weeks upon starting it to complete that part. And every single one of our students, we recommend that you do this. It is necessary not only for you being great at your studies. There are many students who have found at the very end of their academic journey that they've overlooked some huge academic integrity consideration, and then they've been failed only because they did not have access to this. So this is for everybody to attend. You will get the link inviting you to begin registration from the 23rd. We open it all throughout the period that we're offering this, the 6-month period that we're offering the program for. But of course, the sooner you do it, the more appropriate it feels, because you foreground everything with the right type of foundation. And once it opens, once you register, you then get given 3 weeks to do many exercises that are live exercises. So when you register yourself and you start, there will be someone who responds to you, to your issues of clarification. We have quizzes, we have tasks that need to be done. Then from the first Monday of May, which according to my calendar is the 3rd of May, we will begin the first taught classes on the program. This, of course, is all going to have been communicated with you within probably the next 24 to 48 hours. You will have all of this in some shape or form in front of you. And remember, if there's anything that seems like it's not making sense, please feel free to email me. And typically I will get 200, 300 emails a day. And between myself and the team, you will hear back from us within 24 to 48 hours. We also have frequently asked questions, which we will send to you in any case, so that you have an ability to check whether you are asking a question that we have been asked and answered before. So those are the pre-required elements. I think now I can sign off and ask Professor Ngulube to thank everyone for their participation and also to close the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Mkuchini. Good morning, Unisans, and all protocols observed. Mine is a very simple task, just to thank you and to close. So I would like to thank all of you who made time to join us on the launch of our flagship program. And I would also want to thank our portfolio manager, the Vice Principal, Professor Meiwa, and also to thank the Dean of Students, Dr. Sipuka, and also to thank the SRC President, although he was not able to deliver his whole message, but that spirit of solidarity is really appreciated. More so the fact that you underscored the fact that research helps in decision making. And therefore the type of researchers that we produce, they must be complete and all-rounded so that they can contribute effectively to our society. And that is a very important point. I would like to thank you for that. And I would also want to thank the project leader, Professor Tenzem Kuchini, for giving us the background to the project and leading the project. But before I close, maybe allow me to say one or two words. What is very clear from the presentations that we had is that as Unisans, we stand at 10% in terms of our throughput rate. And that is far, far too low. And a program of this nature is very, very important because it is trying to actually make a dent on that 10%. And our projection this year of taking the cue from our VC and principal, we need to think of 20% and even beyond. So, as Professor Mewa has said, hold us accountable. But as you hold us accountable, you must remember that we are nothing without you as students. And also, as you hold us accountable, you must also remember the old adage that it takes two to tango. So we are in this journey together. And if we actually undertake this research journey together effectively, we are going to be able to meet that 20% target. And by 2030, you must remember our National Development Plan is saying that our throughput rate or our graduation rate for doctorates should be 75%. And we are sitting at 10%. So if we don't work hard through programs like these ones, we won't be able to reach the target that is envisaged in our National Development Plan. You remember that our National Development Plan is there for us to build the future that we like, the future that is good for us. So we need actually programs like this. So I would like to thank the program sponsor and the project leader for actually bringing together this program. This program is going to build your capacity in how you deal with research methodologies. It's going to build your capacity in how you approach academic integrity. And more important, I think I like the fact that this time around we are introducing the supervisor into the mix, because the leader of the project must also be aware, because you must remember that as supervisors also we went through the same journey like yourselves. And some of us, you may find that, as Prof. Kuchini was saying, that you only know grounded theory. And then you come up with a situation whereby you want to use another approach. And then the supervisor says, no, you can't use that approach. You use this approach. So you end up actually thinking that every instrument or research methodology is like a hammer, where we only have a nail. So we want you to have a number of implements so that you can have a number of approaches to solving your problems, rather than just using a hammer for every problem as if it was a nail. So I would like to thank this launch of the program very much, because it actually helps us to achieve our mandate and promote the academic project. So with those words, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a pleasant day going forward, and I wish to thank you sincerely for having made time. I thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Ngulube. Dear students, and to all those that attended today, we thank you for spending the last 2 hours or so with us. We know your time is expensive. It could be anywhere else. We trust you will see much more of us as we go forward. And I have received other comments since I did the question and answer response, and we will sign off from the live event and continue to answer what we can. But the truth of it all is that please register and join us so we don't only answer your one question, we give you the tools to answer every other question that relates to your study. I want to thank you all in every shape and form for attending, and we'll see you quite a lot over the coming months. Thank you to everyone. Take care.